It's 1992 and Princess Diana sits alone in her Kensington Palace bedroom, clutching a small blue nightgown against her chest. Her shoulders shake with silent sobs as moonlight streams through the heavy curtains. The golden walls that once felt like home now feel like a prison. What drove the world's most beloved princess to this moment of complete despair? Let me take you back to where it all began. Diana had been away for 3 weeks on royal duties, endless charity galas, ribbon cuttings and formal dinners where every smile had to be perfect, every word carefully measured. The weight of the crown had never felt heavier on her shoulders. All she wanted was to see her boys, William and Harry, who were staying at Balmoral with their father and the Queen. "I just want to bring them home," Diana whispered into the phone to her private secretary, her voice cracked with exhaustion. "Just 2 days early. I miss them terribly." The response came swift and cold through the palace channels. "Her Majesty regrets that such a change would inconvenience the established schedule. The princes will return as planned." Diana's heart sank like a stone thrown into the Thames. She understood the subtext perfectly. Her feelings, her needs as a mother didn't matter. The royal machine would continue its relentless march forward, and she was expected to smile and wave while it crushed her spirit beneath its wheels. That evening, Diana walked through the empty corridors of Kensington Palace. Her footsteps echoed against the marble floors like a lonely heartbeat. The staff had gone home, and Charles was nowhere to be found, probably at Highgrove, she thought bitterly. The silence pressed against her eardrums like water at the bottom of a deep well. She found herself in the nursery, a room that had once been filled with laughter and chaos. Now it stood pristine and empty, toys arranged with military precision. Diana picked up Harry's favorite teddy bear, its fur worn soft from countless hugs and adventures. She held it close, breathing in the faint scent of her youngest son's hair. "Mummy misses you so much," she whispered to the empty room, her words hanging in the air like morning mist. The royal family's rejection wasn't just about scheduling, it was about control. Diana had always been different from them, too emotional, too human for their liking. She hugged strangers, she cried in public, she spoke from her heart instead of from carefully prepared speeches. To them, she was a beautiful butterfly they'd captured and pinned to a board, expected to remain motionless and decorative. But Diana was a mother first, and her children were her lifeline in a world that often felt like it was drowning her. She remembered William's last words to her before she left. "Mummy, promise you'll come back soon." His blue eyes, so much like hers, had been filled with understanding beyond his years. Even at 10, he could sense the invisible chains that bound his mother to duties that pulled her away from what mattered most. Harry, only 8, had simply wrapped his arms around her neck and refused to let go. "Stay with us, Mummy," he'd pleaded, his voice muffled against her shoulder. "We can play pirates in the garden." The memory hit Diana like a physical blow. She doubled over, clutching her stomach as grief washed over her in waves. The palace walls seemed to close in around her, suffocating her with their weight of tradition and expectation. Diana made her way to her bedroom, each step feeling like she was walking through quicksand. She opened the wardrobe where she kept mementos of her children, school drawings, handwritten notes, small treasures they'd given her. Her fingers found Harry's little blue nightgown, the one he'd outgrown but she couldn't bear to pack away. She lifted it to her face, breathing in the lingering scent of childhood innocence and unconditional love. The fabric was soft against her cheek, a tangible connection to the part of her life that truly mattered. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the empty room, to her absent children, to herself. "I'm so sorry I can't be the mother you deserve." Diana sank onto her bed, the nightgown pressed against her heart. The tears came then, hot and desperate, carrying with them all the loneliness and frustration she'd been holding inside. She cried for the mother she wanted to be, for the childhood she was missing, for the prison of privilege that kept her from the simple joy of tucking her children into bed whenever she chose. Outside her window, London sparkled with a million lights, each one representing a family gathered around dinner tables, mothers kissing scraped knees, fathers reading bedtime stories. Diana felt separated from that world of ordinary love by an invisible wall of protocol and duty. The irony wasn't lost on her. She was one of the most photographed women in the world, yet she felt utterly alone. Millions of people claimed to love her, yet she couldn't even embrace her own children when her heart was breaking for them. As the night wore on, Diana made a decision that would change everything. She would no longer be the silent, obedient princess they expected her to be. She would fight for her right to be a mother first, princess second. The consequences would be severe. She knew that. But her children needed her to be brave, even when bravery meant standing alone against the most powerful institution in Britain. She picked up her phone and dialed a number she'd memorized but never had the courage to use. A journalist answered on the third ring. "Hello," Diana said, her voice steady despite the tears still glistening on her cheeks. "I think it's time the world knew the truth about what it really means to be a mother in this family." The silence on the other end was deafening. Then quietly, "Your Royal Highness, are you certain about this?" Diana looked at the nightgown in her lap, thought of her boys sleeping in their beds hundreds of miles away, and felt a strength she'd forgotten she possessed rising within her. "I've never been more certain of anything in my life." That night, as Diana finally fell asleep clutching her son's nightgown, she didn't know that her act of quiet rebellion would eventually reshape the monarchy itself. She didn't know that her decision to choose love over duty would inspire a generation of mothers to demand better for themselves and their children. All she knew was that sometimes the greatest act of love is the willingness to break the rules that keep you from the ones you love most. The next morning, the palace would wake to find that their perfect princess had become something far more dangerous, a mother who refused to be silenced. And in that moment of transformation, Diana discovered that the most powerful weapon against an institution built on tradition and control wasn't anger or rebellion. It was the simple, revolutionary act of choosing love over fear. The royal family would never be the same, neither would the world.